After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe.
My two Satoshis. I'm your host, Chris. Welcome back to the show. Well, for those who have been hiding under a rock, you didn't know, PulseChain has launched. And I'm sure somewhere right now, Richard Hart is popping that bussy. You know what I'm talking about? And I said bussy with a B. I'm sure somewhere he is busting it open, and I ain't mad at him. Go ahead and get your celebration on, brother. Even though I've never really seen a man celebrate like that before, but hey, that's neither here nor there. For those who don't know, PulseChain is launched, and listen, man, there's a lot going on. I'm sure there's going to be some rich people from PulseChain. It's going to take a little time, so don't panic. If you sacrificed, I mean, listen, they've been waiting. I can't say we. They waited for 2 years. It's out, and in all honesty, from what I can see, the chain is running. However, everything was good. I was able to run a couple of transactions for like 0.02 PLS until Zen launched. And since Zen launched, the fees have been astronomical. I mean, I really don't know what to tell you guys. I've seen a lot of sentiment in the ecosystem that says that maybe Zen should have waited until the bridge was launched, and then this stress test should have been implemented at that time. However, I don't think that still would have satisfied most people who are in PulseChain because they wanted to cash out. Although I thought the goal was to hold long term. And I saw Crypto Kindness ask this question on Twitter. And the question went like this. He said, most people who are minting Zen right now are people who sacrificed, because the average person who like maybe have a little bit like me can't really afford to mint because let's just take a look. Let's just try to do a simple swap on here. I'm gonna go ahead and swap something like DAI. And let's take a look and see how much. I'm just gonna enable it. Let's see currently how much it is going for as far as in PLS terms. Let's go ahead and use a max default. Let's just max that out. And right now, 186 PLS just to approve this transaction. If I was to do something like actually mint a Zen FT, let's just take a look and see how much would it go for. Let's go ahead and do let's leave it at max 100. We're not even going to max it all the way out to the 128. Let's see how much PLS would cost me to mint one of these. And right now today, and it's gone down some, it would be 73,000 PLS to mint a Sapphire Zen FT. That's crazy. The funny thing is, I was looking at Richard over on Twitter, and he said that this is normal. This is pretty much how it should be. I'm not going to argue the point and say whether or not that's right, wrong, kind of go into people's opinion as far as they waited 2 years and now they still got the same things they had over on Ethereum, because you have to look at the actual price of PLS and see whether or not that's actually true. 100 could be only 30 cents. You never know. We don't know yet what the actual value of PLS is. So it's all relative. But I will say that Jack dropped this bomb and allowed us to go over. And as you can see, I just did a simple mint. It started out at estimated 9 million Zen. That was yesterday. I wanted to make sure that I at least got something in so I could capture this EEA, early adopters amplification, or I forgot what the EEA, sorry, that stands for. But right now it's 9.9. The amp is 3,000. I got my C rank at 104,000 because I kept trying to run the transaction. And it was up to like 800,000 PLS just to simply run a simple transaction. And I was like, whoa, let me bag off. So I can only imagine how people who don't have any PLS or 0.04, like I started off with, are feeling right now. Now, if you had plenty of time to prepare before this launch. So if you didn't simply buy Hex and hold it in your wallet so that when this launched, you got a copy of Hex that you could use to swap into PulseChain, then you really weren't up on your strategy. And I mean, it is what it is. If you were holding ETH in your wallet, it got transferred over into PLS. So like I had 0.04 ETH, it became 0.04 PulseChain when this actually launched. Not much at all, but because I got in the first day and kind of waited, looked at the price, waited for it to adjust, it went up to 1 pulse, 1.2 pulse, it would drop back down, and I just kind of waited and was patient and just kind of ran a couple of transactions, swapped 2 or 3 Hex into some PulseChain, and now I was off and running and can do what I want to. Now I can, but I'm not going to use my Pulse for a lot of minting Zen. And there's a reason for that. I have a strategy. Being a little fish in a big pond full of guys who minted and have millions and millions of PLS. I'm playing the waiting game and doing things a little bit differently, but that's just to kind of bring you up on speed of what's going on. Zen launched, and I would say that the chain is almost unusable. Now, if you do look at the burn, it is burning PLS. I mean, it is burning. And the only thing I can say is that's going to be great for the supply, and it's going to pump a lot of bags. And that's just the truth. And it's not going to stop. I've heard quite people say it's going to come down for right now, 7.7 billion PLSX burned. And that's from over here. I'm not sure. I'd have to go and look and find that chart to find out how much exactly has been burnt as far as the pulse is concerned. But it's astronomical, and it's great for the chain. And hey, for those who got the sacrifice and got a lot of it, salute, hats off. You did your thing. And I think that in the next year or two, especially in the bull run, you guys are going to be well off, very wealthy, very wealthy. And all I can do is tip my hat to you guys. For those who are a little upset and salty about Zen and about the fees they feel are high, I mean, only thing I can tell you is this is a capitalist society. If you can't afford it, then you just can't afford it. If the question is, if you don't have any PLS, what do you do? From what I could see, the faucet was going to launch, but with these high fees, they're not launching because it's not feasible for them to try to send you 1 or 2 PLS, and it costs 140 or 150 per transaction. It's not feasible. So over on the Twitter account, the Pulse faucet said that they're not launching it right now. So I'll pull some of this information up on Twitter so that you can see it for yourself. Let's take a look at it. Oh yeah, I forgot. I muted the word PulseChain for a couple of days. So I couldn't find it over here on Twitter, but let's just keep it moving. If you're in PulseChain, you probably have seen the tweet, so you know what I'm talking about. One thing I want to point out is that not many of the protocols that are actually on PulseChain are actually, you can't connect with your MetaMask and actually use them. Except for 3 that I've found. I'm sure there's more, but like Liquid Loans and Power City is coming pretty soon, but not quite yet. But I did notice that Revolt.coldao, shout out to you guys. You've done your thing. You're already able to be connected, and it looks like I can do some transactions. I'm not in this protocol. I'm not telling you to go into this protocol. I'm just pointing out some things that have already launched as far as you being able to connect, not get error messages, and it looks like you can actually create some actual Revolt, stake some Revolt, and do some things like that. Also, PulseLorian looks like they're up and running. Looks like you can actually go over and start staking and doing some things. Now, the only thing about it is there's no bridge. So unless you were already in the protocol and you are able to, connect and start doing things, then, there's not much you can do. But if you were already using the platform before, and when this launched, your tokens came over, sure, you're up and running and doing your thing over there. And it also looks like Pulse Bitcoin is up and running on PulseChain. So I like to say shout out to those 3 platforms. I did a video before saying that I did not see many platforms actually look like they were ready for PulseChain to launch, but it looks like these 3 were ready to go. And it's a day after PulseChain launched. I could connect my wallet, no error messages. If I wanted to go ahead, if I had some PLSB or PLSD, I could go ahead and start doing my thing and start minting and start mining and doing things like that. So, hey, shout out to those 3. Now, going back to PulseChain and what I see and what I think is going to be happening as far as a price prediction for PulseChain, I can't give one of those right now because the supply is so large. Let's pull that supply up real. As you can see, the supply for Pulse is 135 trillion. It's 143 trillion Pulse PLSX. Incentive tokens is 140,000. This is all circulating supply. Hex, 649 billion. And it looks like 428 million PLS has been burned so far. And 5.9 billion PLSX has been burnt so far. I got this off of Twitter, so exactly how accurate that is as far as right now, I can't say. But let's just give you an idea, kind of what the circulating supply, I'm not sure if you guys can see that, what the circulating supply is looking like, the volume, the liquidity, you can see that for yourself. And I mean, I'm impressed. You know, I'm sure Richard is somewhere busting it open right now, doing his thing. He seems to be pretty laid back and chill as far as on Twitter, not really talking too much noise, doing any outrage marketing. But for those who were here when he was doing that, and he said a couple of derogatory things as far as using certain terminology for Black people, we haven't forgotten. So it is what it is. So for those of us who, you know what I'm saying, just, hey, you know, no hard feelings, but it is what it is. This has been my 2 Satoshis. We're out.
Lately I've been losing my direction. I know, 'cause I've been trapped inside this heart of mine. Oh, heart of mine. Oh, heart of mine.
You take the red pill,
Mine.
you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how